What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Mental Mondays with Epis, episode 7. Got my boy Chris Rhodes waiting for me. Let's get the show on the road. Keep showing up.
Wake up! You can't remember where it was. Has this dream stopped?
Hope you find some kind of peace of mind. And hope you find some kind of peace of mind.
Was true. In my love, in my
Hope you find some kind of peace of mind.
That's right. I hope you find some kind of peace of mind. Thank you for joining us this evening, everybody. It's your boy, Matty B. This is Epis Radio, Mental Mondays with Epis, episode 7. Got my boy Chris Rhodes here. This is the second edition with Chris here. He's no longer a guest. I don't know. We're calling him a co-host now, maybe. But that's a story for another day. It's trial and error, but we love Chris here. We had a fabulous episode last time out. By far our most successful episodes between the sports and the Mental Mondays. And happy Mental Health Monday, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope today was a good Monday for you. I was off of work, a bit down in the dumps. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. Also just not feeling great, coming off a little bit of a cold. Chris, you were at work today, right? I don't think you played hooky, right? You were there, full ready to go. How was your day?
Did not play hooky. It was good. It was busy, man. It was busy, but made it happen.
That was quote unquote him saying that we really could have used you, you son of a bitch. Why weren't you there? I didn't call out or anything. It was my scheduled off day. All right, so I had reason to be out. Unfortunately, though, I did get hit with some bad news over the weekend, and I got a call from my mother, and it turns out my grandmother is being put into hospice, and it seems like these are the end of days for her. And we were just talking about this, with you, and your cousin. It's just tough, man. Going through it, and it brought back so many emotions for me, and it was good that I had this leading up to it. I needed a bit of therapy session myself because last couple of days I just been out of it, thinking about the family, thinking about the losses. I always find a way to get back to my father, and and just the gap that's still there. That plays into the mental health video of the week. Be showing that to you guys shortly. And it's just tough, man. It's just tough. I seem to be like stuck in a rut mentally all of a sudden with this, and I just I was supposed to go see my grandmother today. We didn't really ever have like a super close relationship, but honestly, in the last couple of years, we had more of a close relation than we ever had. We would at least text back and forth, keep in touch a bit, and she always showed interest in the kids and things like that. So I appreciate that. And it's just a shame, to see her decline over the years. Just a bunch of health issues, cardiac related mostly. A lot of overweight issues that leading to other illnesses and issues with her. But it's just tough, in any given event, seeing a loved one decline, and now knowing that the days are limited. You basically count them down at this point. Um, I hope that I get a chance to see her again. Right now, she's relatively in good spirits considering the situation. Right now, her heart is enlarged and her kidneys are giving out on her. So seemingly any day now in terms of that. But um, there's still hope that she'll be around for a little bit. So I'm hoping I can see her later on in the week or come the weekend. But it's just tough, man. It's never easy, no matter what, no matter who it is. And it's just it brings back all these emotions again, and it makes me think about my own life and what I'm doing and what I'm not doing, and it's just a lot, Chris. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you have any input on it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. It's not easy, man. It's not easy. It's an unfortunate part of life, but I know what you're going through is not easy right now. Hopefully, you could get a chance to go see her, and talk with her, just be there, you know, and well, yeah, hopefully you get to do that, man. But or at least
Well,
get to
I'll
give
be
her a
getting
call
out
and
there.
just
Like I said, I'm in close contact with my aunt, who's been close to her and taking care of her mostly throughout this. And I'll be up there if need be. If seemingly it's only a 2 hour drive away. So the idea was to go up there today. Didn't work out, but again, I'll get there if I hear the situation getting like rapidly worse. So.
right,
It's I'll get that opportunity. That I'm not too worried about. It's just everything else, man. I worry about my mother,
of course.
and how it's gonna affect her and my other aunts, things like that. Dub, what's up, man? Dub's in the chat. What's going on, bro? Coming from YouTube. Dubs, I don't know if he's still working or he's had a just getting home from a long, super long shift. But I think he was working like somewhere like 19 hours or something today. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
What's going
that's
on,
pretty
broski?
crazy.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Wish you were here. It's just tough, Chris. You never want to see it with a family member, and now I start to think. I was thinking about her. She's the last one in my family that is of the older generation. She's the last one to go. Now, like my mom and her sisters and that generation of the family becomes the old generation. With that, I move up a notch as well. So it's
Right.
quite interesting to think that. And then when you start to look at that top tier part of my family as well, it doesn't run too deep in those that are still alive. Actually, my father obviously going at a young age, my uncle going at a young age. A lot on my father's side is gone, along with my grandmother who went first on my father's side. So that's kind of like been, you know, put to end on that side of the family, and now you're seeing it with my mom's side. It's just it's tough, man. You start to feel old a little bit. You start to
Yeah.
life comes crashing down on you a little bit more. And then just today I'm going through like bills and things like that. I got medical bills up the ass. This and that, all these other types of bills I got to deal with. Parking is traffic violations, the whole nine, and I'm just like, man, this adulting shit sucks. It's tough, man. There's so much to worry about, so much, and then you think about death. There's always that.
Yeah.
At any given moment, right? It's like, that's always lurking, and it's scary, man. Yeah,
It's true what you say. It's true what you say, man. I think about that too, like seeing family members that it just seems like time flew, and it's like you think about your own age, how you're getting older and stuff, and like wow, where did it go? Kind of makes you want to spend time with like the family that's left, like even more. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
or it makes you feel like you're not spending enough time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's that
yeah,
too. I think I always tend to lean towards that a little bit more. At least the way my brain is wired. I'm
I
always
do too.
thinking,
Yeah,
oh, it could have spent more time, could have done this, could have done that. It's kind of interesting when you like break it down. Like, there's parts of my family that I really only see like once or twice a year. So if you start to do the math,
right.
like my mom, what is she? I mean, not that I only see my mom once or twice a year, but like her being around other family members that she doesn't get to see like very long. She's in her mid 60s. If she's lucky, 15, 20 years, right? Theoretically, she's got. So you're now like basically saying, hey, you're only gonna get like 30 more moments, with
Right.
that
Yeah.
with that certain like family member. And like even for me, I'm 33, but you know, what does that mean? That's like, 30, 40 more times that I'll see this person. It starts to, seem small.
Yeah. 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 I
you
hear
know,
that. You,
excuse me.
no, you get wrapped up, man. You get wrapped up, and it's like you think about it. You're like, holy crap, man! I haven't seen this person in like several months. It's like it makes you want to give more time towards family and friends and all that stuff, and you start realizing certain things you were putting so much attention towards probably don't need your attention that much, or you could
Hmm.
divert it elsewhere to other people and all that stuff. Just makes you think like, man, I kind of want to just maybe take a few more days off at work or whatever it may be, put something else to the side. You kind of just get caught up and you realize, like, yeah, I haven't been seeing these people all that much. And that's important, man. The older we get, too, you just like we said, we see how fast time goes. And it's like, you realize you got to spend time with these people more, man. You know? But I get it. It's not always easy. It's like, especially, like you say, we're adults ourselves. Adulthood takes over, man. And it's like, it's not easy, man. Time flies.
Especially
But
in this economy, it's where we, the average family, you know, basically needs to be, have two sources, at least two sources of income. If you're single, you're working two jobs, things like that. It's hard to make time, for people
yeah,
and friends and relationships and things like that. We're so busy, at least, in the urban society. I mean, you live in New York, it's a hustle and bustle constantly, right? That's all we know. Maybe if you live somewhere in the mountains, it's a different story, a different type of living, probably a
yeah,
better way of living. But at least for us, we could speak, from example. That's how it is, and it's just so tough. You lose sight of it. I mean, there's good friends that I love dearly, and I haven't seen in over a year, some 2 years. You think, how is that even possible? I don't even know. You know,
it's true.
you know. I guess you could question whether or not it's a good friendship, but I would at least argue they are,
Yeah, yeah,
despite the
yeah.
absence, But again, you start to think it's like, well, at that rate, I'm not really gonna get too many chances with this person, and it's fleeting, man, and it's sad to see it. Not that I have any regrets with my grandmother.
Right.
We never had a super close relationship. She was never super close to my mother. Their relationship was kind of, um, torn at a very early age between them two. She definitely had a much closer relationship with her other two daughters for whatever reason. I'll never know the full details possibly on
Right.
that one. I mean, I have, ideas, but that's her story to tell. Um,
Sure.
interesting fact about my grandmother. She actually was, I don't know if she was bi or a lesbian, probably bi, but she later came to the realization, or that she already knew that she was a lesbian after having three girls. And the man that she had, my grandpa, that who again didn't have much of a relationship with, I must have met the man like two or three times in my life. lived down in Florida, recently passed away. Um, he was had a decent amount of money too. He pretty nice house down there. He turned out to be gay too. So like you had two gay people, marry each other. I guess because crazy times back then, couldn't be gay in that type of society, and they coming up in the early days. You know what I mean? I think easily what 50s, 60s. They're coming up around that time. So different time. Different time back then. This is very frowned upon in society, and they guess for the sake of appeasing their parents,
Right.
they
I was gonna say.
married, had kids, and then went their separate ways later. Had multiple gay partners later on in life, and it's very interesting how like, all
Yeah.
right, grandma, like cool, like what the fuck. um so she lived a life, man. I don't know, if it was necessarily the life she wanted, but she lived a life. And
Wow.
it sucked, it definitely lasts, a couple of years now. It's been a rough go, and health wise, and I guess quality of life hasn't been so great, and that's a shame. You hate to see that, but
Definitely.
um, you know, I hope she goes out with no pain, and some sense of joy and happiness, and fulfillment towards the end there. It's tough. You wonder what goes on in the person's head, especially in that scenario where like, hey, I'm going into hospice. Like, there's no coming out of like this room. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of weird. Like, that's a tough pill to
Yeah.
swallow.
That is.
I don't
That
know
is
if I
odd.
could do that. I don't know if I could live like that, Chris. I don't know if I could go out like that. It's like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'd rather just go climb Everest knowing I'm not coming back. You know what I mean?
I hear that. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm more that type. Like,
Yeah.
or
You
like I'm
definitely are.
going on my last camping trip.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can see you like just getting
Yeah,
out of there and trying to do that. Like, yeah, let go of me.
yeah, like that's it. I'm not. No, you're not sticking me in a room and just waiting for my days to be there. My guys, I'm here. I'm in the car headed home. That's a fact. Long day. Love y'all. Dubs on the way home, man. There he is. He's going. Be safe, bro. Thank you for tuning in.
At least she's in good spirits. You know what I mean?
For
Uh,
sure. I don't know how long that's going to last with your kidneys failing and things like that. So, these moments are fleeting. So,
mhm.
Nana, if you're tuned in right now, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Hello.
Right.
In the chat.
Oh man.
Sorry, just talking about her dying. My God. I love you, Dad. It's all good.
Right.
Um, yeah, listen, you gotta make light. You gotta make laugh. You gotta laugh about it. Anyway,
No, you
on
do.
that note,
Yeah,
let's
I
get to
appreciate it.
this week's mental health video. of the
Let's
week.
do it. Maddie, why don't I have you on my screen here? Is that better?
um, well, are you monitoring me for Discord?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're monitoring me off Discord, so you won't see me on Discord, but you gotta monitor the chat, good old friend there. So do you have like a little side like a tablet or something you can monitor, or even your phone where you can monitor like Twitch or YouTube? You monitor
Yeah,
the
yeah,
stream. That's what I texted you that before,
yeah, yeah. Okay.
so you can pull that up.
Yeah, do that.
See, I got my laptop over here. I can watch that and all that. Hey, is the stream not up? I was about to say in YouTube. Yeah, I was like, is the stream not up? Of course it's up because Dub was watching us on YouTube there.
Right.
It's a good time to plug the channel. Thank you for everybody for all the subscriptions on YouTube. We appreciate you. Up over 2.6 thousand now subscribers. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Any day now, we'll be up at 3,000. And man, let's just keep it going. It's crazy. I look at some of the views and some of the videos, and it's even the old videos. I'm like, how the hell are people still even watching some of this stuff? And it's just amazing. I appreciate you guys, really do. We've been on one hell of a run, and now the seventh episode with Mental Mondays. I know a lot of you guys are used to us with the sports, and don't get us wrong. We're not abandoning that. We're totally fully committed to our sports realm of things, but we do want to expand here in Epis Radio and do a lot of other things as well. We think it's important to talk about a little mental health in a fun way, in a very open and honest way. I have no doctorate or anything like that. I've worked in healthcare for 10 years, but I'm no professional by any stretch of the means. I'm not giving out professional advice, nor is Chris. We're just here, two dudes talking about our lives, our experiences, what we're going through, and hope you can relate. Hope you want to join in on the conversation. We appreciate you tuning in. It's a beautiful thing. And Chris, do you have the chat monitor now? Are you all good, my friend?
No, I'm going to though.
Oh,
Pull
okay.
it up. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna pull up the mental health video of the week for y'all right here. Got this right here. Just posted it earlier today. It hit Instagram at 12 o'clock and hit YouTube a little bit later on in the day. We also got another video you should check out, short video in regards to our last mental health video, mental health episode 6, where I go talking about a bit of my past and some of the things that I was going through. But without further ado, here's the video of the week. Bit of a tearjerker. All right. Like I said, I didn't mention early on in the show. It has to do with loss, and losing a loved one. So it's this one's a toughie. Yeah, right. Whatever happened, in time heals all wounds. The wounds will heal, but the scars remain. It's like I'm almost forgetting what he was like. It's been so long. Just cherish the memories you do have. I promise you, my friend. This too shall pass. It's amazing to think about all the time that is lost, all the memories we could have had. We'll just end up forever thinking what could have been. One thing's for certain. You'll always have me. Now you can count on me. Keep showing up. Alright, we'll play that one more time for you. Whatever happened, in time heals all wounds. The wounds will heal, but the scars remain. It's like I'm almost forgetting what he was like. It's been so long. Cherish the memories you do have. I promise you, my friend. This too shall pass. It's amazing to think about all the time that is lost, all the memories we could have had. We'll just end up forever thinking what could have been. One thing's for certain. You'll always have me. Now you can count on me. Keep showing up. Alrighty, so there you go. There's this week's mental health video of the week. What do you think, Chris?
I like it, man. It's deep. Another good one by you, bro. Another good one. What were you thinking when you did that?
Well, again, it was kind of inspired by the news of my grandmother being put into hospice, and it triggered a lot of thoughts about my dad, and I wanted to. Sorry, been battling this cough. Um, I wanted to just hit home with the viewer, especially that one of that part where where I'm left thinking about what could have been. It's so true because it's really a part of my closure that I never was able to get. I missed out on so many memories, uh, so many times. Like I was just talking about it with you, how you know you could look at it, you could start to break it down in numbers and really start to see like, hey man, I'm not going to get too many interactions with these people. Well, with my dad, at the age of 13, I um I got stripped of all of that. I didn't, I never, never got to learn half the things you normally would with the father. um
Yeah.
it's such a shame. It's such a different perspective. You know to have your father still around and all that, just a family member in general. And it really does eat away at you. You think about it at times, and and it's one of those parts. Um, it's I know sometimes the mental health videos are meant to be uplifting, but they're also meant to be dark and real. And I think this
Right.
one in particular was like that. I really liked the long pauses that I put in there towards the end. I even like the fact that it's somehow Mother Nature always feels the vibe of the video. I'm not even joking by that because you got the wind whipping and all that. It was kind of like a
Yep.
rough night, and it was like it's kind of nice. It was so freaking fitting. Initially I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, it's too loud, it's too much, and it's a bit hard to hear my voice. I could have like edited it and brought my voice up a little bit, but you got the words in there. It's fine. It works. But yeah, that's just I wanted to feel dark and lonely. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not like I wasn't like super down and depressed that night about it, things like that. Like I've a lot of
Right.
these
Right.
things I've come to terms with. I just, for the viewer itself, I really want you to feel what it's like going through that. The last 2 days haven't been great, mentally. It's
Yeah.
resurfaced some of those thoughts just because of my family member, and nearing the end, and it just triggers those emotions for sure. you know Makes me get existential about myself and my life. Then I take a look at my kids and how fast they've grown up and things like it's just it's like a domino effect, man. It just it puts me in a weird place. Brings me back to that time.
Makes sense, man.
you know
Yeah.
um and I don't know if it's healthy to feel that way. I don't know. Like I mean, I always find a way to come out of it and get positive and get back on track. I've never, I'm done with the days of letting it control my life and not living a life because of it. I hate to see others that do let it affect them to that level. I've seen it with my own mother. And her
Right.
losing my father as well. It's tough. I understand. It's not easy. Um, but you can't let it define who you are.
Yeah.
It's so important. And most importantly, that that person that you do lose, or that's just empty now in your life, it's I'm sure they would want you to go on and live your own life and do your own thing. So you got reason to live. You can't be stuck on it. And again, not taking things for granted. The whole uh, time heals all wounds thing. I've always, you always hear that growing up, and I always hated that phrase. Really, I always kind of thought it.
Yeah.
I believed in it at first, and then when reality like set in, and it was like. it's more, yeah, the wound will heal, but the scar remains, and that's why I put that line in there because that's more true.
Right,
Yes, the wound will heal with time. As naturally wounds do over time, with
right.
proper care and all that.
Yep.
But that scar is typically everlasting, right? And certainly with the loss of a loved one, that remains forever. And I don't. That's irreplaceable. I think a lot of people, when they hear the "time heals all wounds" phrase, you have this like false sense that so will that feeling of the loss, and it's like, no, that's not the case.
Yeah, no, no,
You
no.
know,
It's like what we talked about in the last episode. It's like what you do at that time, that
right?
counts for so much too. And like talking to you, it seems like you definitely you're doing the right things, man. As far as keeping yourself busy and having the right outlook on things and living extra and living for him too. I think he'd be proud of you, man. To be honest, you, you grew, and I'm sure he'll be happy with the man you grew into, man. And you became. You know.
I would hope so, but again, those are one of those things where and it's hard for me to think about that because it'll lead me down a road or a path that I don't really even want to go to because I'll never get that answer. You know what I'm saying? And I question that. I do. And especially in those moments, more so than ever, I really do question those moments that, damn, like what did he think of me? He never got to meet any of my kids. None of them.
Right, right,
Not there weren't even, existence. I mean, like just his existence alone would have changed the trajectory of my life and my kid's life and all that, and it changes everything, and that's why it's like you really can't get mad, get angry, or think about the what ifs because it will just lead you down this road of no return. You'll never get any answers. You'll come out more with more questions than anything.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
And it's just not a healthy way of thinking. Like it's unfortunate you have to move forward. Oh, sorry.
yeah,
And that's just it. And again, these are human emotions. It's okay to get stuck in these thought processes, but you have to find a way to get the hell out of it. That's the key.
yeah, that, yeah,
I typically have done a good job now in you know this stage of my life where I don't dwell on these things for too long. Last couple of days, it definitely is a little too much for me. Where I was like, all right, I'm doing things. I've been keeping busy, doing a little editing and things like that, posting for the show, a little promotional stuff. But I haven't gone for a run, in a while. I took like a kind of unscheduled week off of running. Kind of been in a little bit of rut. Had a day last week. We talked about it privately where I drank a little too much. Kind of
mhm,
just passed out early. Not great.
right,
Didn't eat dinner. Just kind of like, all right, not and I don't know, what it is, the return to work, post race depression or whatever it is like that. I don't have any races I'm training for anymore after that race, and there was a bit of a thing where it's like, okay, now what? Like I kind of got like no reason to do any of it, so not that I'm there with that mindset, but I could see myself like going down that trend, going down that road, and it's like, all right, got to kind of snap back at it. And I've noticed this with myself, like I'm kind of having like the reverse, um, when it comes to like seasonal depression. Like most people when it goes into like winter, they get a little seasonal depression. Yeah, I
yeah,
got this one buddy. He's like a bear, bro. He hibernates for the winter. You won't even hear from him. You know, he literally goes into seasonal depression, but he'll pop out just like that freaking groundhog in spring.
Right.
You know, ready to go, ready to talk. You know, and all of a sudden say, "Hey, where you been all?" But I think for me, it's a bit of the opposite right now. I think like as for spring here, it's like it's supposed to be like new beginnings, this and that. And I feel like I'm kind of like at a point where fuck, I hit such a high off that 50-mile race, things like that, training for that, having time and so much to dedicate for, and not that I have nothing to look forward to right now. I mean, I've you know
Yeah, I was gonna
th-
say.
you know, three beautiful kids. I got a lot going for me. It's like I got reason to live, but it's just you lose sight. You lose sight. You get, at least for me, I get all caught up in the bullshit, thinking about the
Mhm.
bills. I mean, I must have stressed out over unpaid bills like crazy today, and for what? As if it was gonna
Yeah,
change.
it's not gonna make a difference.
Yeah, so it's gonna change the immediate outcome that I'm in right now. Like it's just racking my brain with all these stories of what could happen, this and that. It's all bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. I mean, you're aware of it all, so that's a great thing. I mean, you do what you have to do to stay busy and try to pull yourselves out of these ruts. But we're human, man. We're gonna feel these things.
What about you,
This is
man?
gonna
What's something that's been plaguing you a little bit lately? How are you with things in terms of the recovery, and what's going on with that?
Yeah, doing good. I mean, that's one thing that plagues me. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I'm okay with it. Um, there's times where it is a little scary, I guess you could say. You worry
Sure.
about you want to stay healthy and on the right path and continuing to do positive things. I'm doing the most positive things I've done in years. So
Yeah,
even though that's a good thing, it's kind of like scary in a sense because
no doubt.
you're afraid of breaking that. You know what I mean? You're afraid like, well, is this going to last? And you're in control of all that, but it doesn't mean it's not hard. You know what I mean? Um,
What part of it
so
is scary for you? Is it like the scary to like succeed, scary to fail, scary to disappoint in a way?
uh,
What part is it that gets you scared in that sense?
yeah, probably the biggest thing failing, I guess. Yeah, probably failing, man. I'm excited that I'm taking on new things, and I just hope I can stay the course. I guess like
Hmm.
being very stressed out and you know what I mean? I'm still trying to navigate life and stress without basically self-medicating. And even if it wasn't a lot of drinks for the day, it was still something that you're used to every day. So it's just like it becomes like almost a buddy, like a habit.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it's not a good buddy, man. It's like a friend that you have to get rid of. And so I try to just tell myself, like, remind myself, like, what the accomplishment that I made is, and I try to be proud of myself, man. And just take it day by day. And yeah, it's just, but there's a lot of fear involved still. Or regret too. That's one thing that's like a
Mm.
big deal. It's like you still regret, even though you're doing so much better now. It's like, fuck, man, it had to take me this long to do this good. You know what I mean? Like I knew I
Right.
was better
Right.
than it that whole time. The whole time I knew I was better than that. And it was just it's sad, man. It's sad. It's a whole bag of emotion, mixed bag, man. You're sad about it. You're angry. You're nervous, even though you know that's bad. You're nervous that it might happen again. I mean, I'm pretty sure it won't, but I mean, you never know. But that's really one thing. It's just like there's a big fear aspect involved, and trying new things and having to learn how to deal with stress in new ways. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I'm doing it, so like it's a good feeling at the same time. And I try not to go back and think about the past too much and regret. But we're human. That's gonna happen. But I try not to harp on it.
Yeah,
Like we were
trying
talking
to
about.
trying to deal with that stress without having that crutch is really the major challenge.
Yeah.
You know, dealing with that, you know, full on. I mean, you see what it does. Even just for me, today, just the stresses of life all hit me at once. Um, where I just kind of felt like I had nowhere to turn to. I can only imagine how that may be intensified, tenfold for you, because you have this going on underlying with and it's tough, man. That's tough. Um,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
not. It's not.
no,
It's definitely.
no, and
But
more power to you to
thank
be able to go to work, do your thing, and be competent in that sense, and that's even harder, to face those troubles, full fledged and hard on it, and still maintain. It's a beautiful thing, man. I tip my hat to you for sure.
I appreciate that.
Um,
Yeah, it's definitely it's tougher going through things,
mhm.
but it actually makes me want to push more to be able to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And when I do and I get through my day without it, I'm really proud of myself, man. It's definitely not easy though. It's not easy, but as time goes, it gets a little easier because it's like, all right, I did this without it. And it was stressful, and it turned out okay. It passes, like you say. This too shall pass. I
Hmm.
know you like to tell me that a lot, and
It was one of
that's it.
my godfather's favorite phrases. He used to tell me that all the time, and that's why I say it a lot because I really don't. He never let me forget, and I like to not let others forget as well. I love the full saying. Um, well, not this too shall pass. His other favorite quote was "Seize the day, put no faith in tomorrow." He even taught me the Latin version of it. Was it quaminimum credula pastero? Yeah,
Right.
what was it? I'm forgetting
Sounds
something
right
else.
to
Yeah.
me.
Now that is right. I think there's another part to that. Quaminimum credula pastero. So I think there's another part to that as well. Say I'm forgetting now. Terrible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Too much.
that's all right.
Too much weed smoking there.
You good? Maybe, maybe.
Now I want to look it up. Hold on. Quaminimum.
You know how to spell that?
Yes, I do actually. I'm not even joking. I really do.
You're ahead of the game right there, bro.
I
I
remember
saw
it.
uh, I saw something the other day. I mean, probably people have seen it now on like Instagram and stuff. But you live in the past, you're anxious. You live in the future, you're depressed. If you live in the
Mm.
present, you're at peace. And that's so true, man. You got to learn. People have to learn to live in the present more, so you could enjoy the littlest of things in front of you, and you realize they're not little things. They're actually big things because they mean so much more. When you're able to just focus on what's in front of you, it's a beautiful thing, man.
I'm so stupid because I um, forgot
I
like
give
the
you more
easiest
credit.
part of the the whole phrase. I want to pull it up to the right side of you guys because it's showing on the other side. Ta-da. Let's see. Let's see. Put me over here. There we go. So, if y'all can see that there, so the Latin phrase "quaminum credula postero" translates to "trusting as little as possible in tomorrow." So that's the true translation. So it's like seize the day, put no faith in tomorrow, and seize the day part is carpe diem, which is the part that I was forgetting. So carpe diem, qua minimum credula postero. I was literally forgetting the friggin' easiest part. It's a Roman poet, Horace, and is often interpreted as a call to appreciate and enjoy life's fleeting moments. See? And I put this on the bulletin board at work and they had a problem with it.
Oh, right.
Nonsense.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And then I was like, maybe you should put something negative. They might leave it up. Like,
Right?
okay,
Yeah, that's more their speed.
fuck
Jesus
this thing.
Christ. No. Because, to appreciate, enjoy life's fleeting moments, that's not a good enough message. But no, let's put up some fucking negative Nancy. All right. Hey, let me stop talking because we already got eyes on us, says it.
Right, right.
No, it's all good. We love you,
Yeah.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll try again, man. You
Oh
put
man.
something else up there one day, Try again. Persistence is
I
the key to
will try
success,
again.
bro.
I will try again. It's bullshit that they try to take me down. But it is what it is. We're okay. We're gonna keep on keep it on. All right. Now we are coming to
Matty
a
B,
close,
bro.
everybody.
Bulletproof.
Bulletproof. Are you damn straight? We are coming to a close soon. All right, we're coming up on the hour mark soon. I think it's 10:45 now. We're gonna recap this week's mental health video of the week soon. All right, and then we're gonna get out of here. Uh, Short little one tonight. Well, we usually do go an hour anyway. We only went longer last week because we were just having loads of fun with the three-person panel, never before done, and the vibes are moving. I'm a little tired today. Again, I've been battling this cold all week, and I'm ready to go though. I'm ready to go back to work tomorrow. Thankfully, I had this scheduled day off. It worked out.
Yeah,
Because I
honestly, I
mean,
really do.
I would have went to work, but it would have sucked. So it was like I needed that extra day. I think that's a part of the mood too. I freaking hate being sick, man, and it
Yeah,
knocks me down, man. My motivation and shit, goes way down the wire. But I need to do a better job of just fighting through that, especially when it comes to running and getting out there, man. Because when I'm at my best when I'm hiking, I'm running. I just feel good, like you said, during your recovery, you're working out, you're just feeling much better about yourself. It's so important, when you're just not moving. It sucks, man. You feel it. You feel it in so many ways. If you are, hitting some substances pretty hard, drinking. Like I said, I had that one night last week where I drank too much, and that very next day, man, I just done, like out for it. Probably set me up for what was me getting sick right after that, lowered my immune system the whole nine. And it probably all started
depression.
with that. Yeah, it
Yeah,
really did. That probably stemmed from that one fucking day that led into a 4 or 5 day stretch of just misery. You
I'm
know,
telling you, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for
I would get
sure.
like that, and I wasn't myself for like literally 3 to 7 days.
Yeah,
Like afterwards, I just did not
yeah.
feel normal. I wasn't myself, mentally, physically. No matter how much sleep I got, it was just like it was just very difficult to come back to being even keeled.
Yeah, and what the hell kind of way is that, to live your life? I mean, like, at least with, with marijuana, things like that, it really doesn't leave that long lasting effect like alcohol. I mean, alcohol literally is just poison for the body,
Yes.
It really is meant to be just enjoyed, rather than drank, like it's like try this as opposed to like here let's have 3 glasses,
Right.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's toxic to your body. It's not meant, it doesn't your body doesn't process it well. There are certain people that literally can't, right? We are they poison to it. You were saying that too with
Yeah.
yourself, right? That you had that you were allergic to it
Yeah.
basically this whole
Yeah.
time,
Actually.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
You
is
go
absurd.
figure.
Like, how
Actually.
many people are going through their life that, oh, why is this, why does it make me feel this way, this and that, like, not realizing, like, yo, you're allergic to the shit, like, like
Yeah.
literally, quite literally,
I
it
think a
is
lot
killing
more
you,
people are than they
Yeah.
realize, man.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I was
not talked
drinking.
about enough,
No, it's not. Yeah.
I
I would
never
drink
heard
and just
that
get
really
hot,
much.
tired.
I need more coffee. It's a shame.
No
Yeah, that needs to be talked about more because growing up, I heard alcohol poisoning, right, alcoholism, that all night. But when it came to being allergic to alcohol, I never knew that was even a thing. It's
yeah, yeah.
interesting to know how long we've known that, but I'm sure it's been long enough, at least in my lifetime. And it's still, I feel like you don't hear about it as much, or at least when it's in talks of like anti-drinking and things like that. Yeah.
Shows you how much they give a shit about us, bro. To think that that's illegal, right? They're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
well, alcohol's still up there
do
with
this to
cigarettes, you know.
yourself. Man.
Alcohol and cigarettes, the same thing. The fact that cigarettes are still going strong is amazing, you know. And not for
Yeah,
nothing, at least they don't have to market their shit, you know. Like at least, you know, remember like back in the day growing up, you know, that you would see actual commercials like Marvel commercials and shit. Like now, you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
see any of that. You know, they don't
Not really.
market themselves anymore. But somehow, some way, people are still out there buying it. I don't know. We know the damage. They put all the warning signs on all the labels, and they're still buying that shit. And at least when it
Do you
comes to
remember?
alcohol. Sorry, I cut you there.
No, no, I'm sorry. I was gonna say the candy cigarettes when we were kids.
Yeah. Those are my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are my favorite.
those
I actually
those cool.
seen those recently.
Yeah,
Where
they still
were
got 'em.
we? Yeah. There's some places still carry them. They don't. I'm sure they don't like make them like that anymore. The ones I probably seen were probably super old. This is, but
Yeah.
I forget where we were. It was recently when we were traveling when we went to PA or somewhere out there. Seen them. Of course, it would be PA.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. It sticks. I remember being like 11, 12 years old with one dangling out my mouth riding my bicycle, thinking I was the
Yeah.
coolest kid.
I was definitely that kid too.
Crazy.
I loved the candy cigarettes, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And the weirdest part about it is that my mother would buy it for me and give it to me. So I wasn't like destined to smoke cigarettes at an early age. What age did you start smoking for you?
13, bro. I used to stand
It
on the
was
corner with my
13.
friends and yeah,
Ah, me
smoke
too. Well,
Newport.
see, we were shit kids. It was terrible, it
Yeah,
was terrible kids. Yeah. Oh, by
it
the
was
way, I
bad.
forgot to tell you about this, but just take a step back with your fotch. Move your fotch a little bit. Yep, right there. There you
Okay.
go. I like that.
My
See,
God,
yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
I've ever heard of that
Your
before.
fotch. Yay, your fotch. I like to call it the fotch.
I'm
Um,
gonna use
we've been in there we've been live for an hour now, and I just tell you now to move your fucking face. So you're
yeah, no.
showing your forehead most of the show. So, shout out to all the people who are staring at your forehead. Um, it's a good forehead though. You got a good hairline. It's all right.
Yeah,
It's
it's not
better
bad.
than it's better than LeBron's. It's all
Yeah,
right.
that's a plus.
Now you're looking good though, man. You're looking good. Looks
Thanks,
like
man.
you got more rest than me. Jeez, I don't know.
You know, I felt dead all day, and then like for the last hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm like wide awake.
Oh,
Well, this
Dawn,
is
what's
probably
going on?
my third coffee. Who's that?
Dawn, I believe that's
Oh,
your family. Like he's like, okay. Dawn, thanks for showing up. Keep showing up. Appreciate you. Coming
keep
from
showing up.
YouTube. Thank you, Dawn.
You're a little late, but keep showing up.
You're a little late, but keep showing. Take care. Brush your hair. Dawn.
Yeah, right. Thanks for coming. Bye bye.
Oh man, we are about to get going soon. We were gonna recap this week's mental health video of the week. Dawn, I don't know if you caught it on the line. I do post it on the YouTube and the Instagram page as well. The better looking sibling. Oh shit, she's calling you out, bro.
Oh, the better. She's prettier than I am. I'm more handsome.
Oh, okay. She said I've been here since the story, assholes. Hey, easy there.
Yeah,
Listen,
she's
though.
got that fresh the Italian queen's mouth, queen's Italian mouth.
I'll allow it because I like to cuss too, but let's not get crazy for the other viewers in the chat, Don. Let's try to keep it PG there. What is this now? I gotta ban this person's comment. Hold on. I'm getting
Which,
spammed in the chat. I don't like the spam in the chat. There you go. Oh yeah. Anyway, Dawn, thanks for showing up. Appreciate you. So let's do that for you viewers out there. Let's recap this week's mental health video of the week. As I try to collect myself from still battling this cough. All right. Oh, let me switch our cameras back over. There you go. All right. Oh, here's this week's video. Whatever happened to time heals all wounds. The wounds will heal, but the scars remain. It's like I'm almost forgetting what he was like. It's been so long. Just cherish the memories you do have. I promise you, my friend, this too shall pass. It's amazing to think about all the time that is lost, all the memories we could have had. We'll just end up forever thinking what could have been. One thing's for certain, we'll always have me. That you can count on. Keep showing up. Alright, there you go. Whatever happened.
Showing up.
Keep showing up, indeed, as always. And yeah, you know, not all the mental health videos, and I know everybody likes the two-person interactions, but not all of them have to be happy, nor they have to be, you know, yeah, I like to end it with the, you know, you'll always have me, as in, you know, you always have that person that, you know, is there to talk to you. You know, for me, I even talk to myself, man. You know, like, so there's a second Matthew up there I'm talking to all the time, you know, that I'm keeping it real with. So,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, no, for sure. It keeps me sane, keeps me level headed. There's actually two different types of people in this world that have dialogue going up in their head, and then there's other people that actually don't. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I can't
Really?
imagine not having that like inner dialogue. Apparently, there's some people that don't have that, like scientifically. That's like mind
I wonder
boggling
what
to me.
that means.
You know, I don't know. Their brain works differently. In that way. That's
Yeah, I
insane. Do you hear like a voice in your head when you kind of
talk
like,
to myself all
you
the
know,
time, man. I'm like,
you
oh
like
yeah,
you hear it though, right? Like you hear the voice. Because I hear a
yeah.
voice. You know, I don't have to be
A
talking.
little
Like,
bit. I
I
know
could
we're
hear
gonna
that
sound
inner
a little.
dialogue. You know, it's
Right.
weird,
Yeah.
man.
No. In a sense, yeah. It's kind of. Yeah. I know we're gonna sound a little
It's
nutty,
a
but
little nutty. Yeah, no doubt about it. But there's a thing I remember seeing about it. Maybe I'll, for next week's show, I'll like find that video and we could take a deep dive into that, the science of that. But that'd be cool.
it's a,
That'd be a cool little topic for the show.
it's
Because
a
it's
good
just a
nutty.
very interesting, man. Yeah, you know, definitely a little nutty, no doubt about
Good
it.
nutty. We got that much more advice that we could take.
hmm
You know,
But
because we have ourselves talking to ourselves.
again, you know, in regards to the video, you know, it's not every video's got to be an uplifting one. I think needs to people need to hear this reality, need to kind of feel it, experience it. You know, for me, it's really truly all genuine. It's not manufactured. A lot of these, you know, things that I say or do, I may not be feeling it in the moment, but I have felt it at one point in my life. And certainly with the loss of my father, you know, it's something that's plagued me for a very long, long time. And you know, losing out on what could have been is has been a huge part of that. You know, I feel that each and every day with the passing of the time when I look at my kids and just the memories that I'm making now with myself, and my family, you know, the family that he never got to meet, never got to meet my wife. You know, I'm sure he would have loved my wife. It's something that I often think of. I think they would have had a great time together. You know, but you know, we'll never get that, never feel that, never experience that. And it's sad, you know, on that, you know, with those types of thoughts alone, you know, I could, you know, fall into a deep depression if I let it be the case. But, you know, it's,
Yeah.
you know, the key is not letting it, right? The key is, you know, collecting yourself and being able to move forward, you know, and you know, whether it be for them or for yourself, however it is, you got to do it. do it in the healthiest way possible. But that's what you got to do. It's not easy. Easier said than done. But this is it's a part of life. The loss is a part of life, and you know, I hope I'm fortunate enough to be around for my kids for a long time. That's why I try to stay active, do the things I do. I'm not perfect. Did a lot of drugs in my day. Smoked cigarettes for 10+ years. Was like a 2 fucking pack a day smoker for a couple
I
of
don't
years
think I
there.
knew that.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think I knew that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I smoked cigarettes for 10+ years. My first cigarette was at the age of 13, bro. And when I started like heavy smoking 15, 16. Definitely was a
Wow.
pack a day smoker for, um, I would say, pretty much all that 10 years. There was like a couple of those years where it was like 2 packs a day, towards the end. And eventually, I was just cut it out. I vaped for a little bit after that, like the nicotine vape shit. I did all that like cloud vape, that like juice vape thing, and did that for like a year. Nicotine gum
Okay.
for like a year, 2 years, and eventually, was off it. Everything for good, in terms of the nicotine. Took me a long
Yeah.
time though, man, to get to that place. I'm still wondering. That's why, the whole running journey with me has been huge. Because there was a time where I was an athlete growing up, played baseball through all of that, in which I just spoke about. All the years in which I smoked, I played baseball through basketball,
Wow.
at a high level, up until college, where I hit my point. Like I just, then that's when the cigarettes had affected me. Because I couldn't maintain any type of endurance. I could
Yeah.
never play like a full court pickup game. You know, I barely could play
Right.
half court at that time. Like I was
Wow.
in my prime at an early 20-year-old, 21, 22, and probably had the lung capacity of a fucking 45-year-old.
Yeah, probably something like that.
I'm not even joking, bro. Like I mean,
Yeah.
I literally could not hang.
Wow.
And it was such a wake up call for me because I'm like, here I am. I'm this fucking person who considers myself an athlete, and I can't even you know like last two half court 20-point games. You know what I'm saying, without dying. When I first started running years ago, I ran my first mile. I couldn't even maintain a full mile. Now I can run 13 miles and literally not stop once. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
insane, and that's been 2 years in the making. But it was a long road to get there. I was not. It took a lot of long days, long nights. That only my wife will ever know. Nobody else.
Hmm.
As much as I document online, you'll never see it all. You know,
Right.
it was not easy to get to this point. So like you were saying earlier in the show, I think I hope you would think that my dad would be proud, and I hope that he would be proud. Maybe he sees something else in me. I don't know, but I try to be a good father, a good friend, and a good son, and I hope that he would look at me in that way. But man, it's a crazy long journey, and man, I don't even know where to go. We went so many different ways with this. Going back all the way at the
I know.
top of the show.
Right.
Talking about my grandmother. Now being in the hospice, and our thoughts are with her, and this time with you,
Absolutely.
Chris, and your family, still grieving your loved one. It's there's just so much, it's so much, and it's just a constant humbling reminder to keep showing up, not only for you but for others. There's somebody out there listening, right, Chris, that
Yeah.
maybe we can help in some way, shape, or form. At the
That's why
very
we do
least.
this.
That's it, man. That's it.
Oh,
Any closing statements, my friend, on episode 7? Thank you for joining me again. This is your second Epis radio run, and with Mental Mondays, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. I enjoy
definitely.
your input. I think the people enjoy you. Again, your video and your testimony to what you're going through last week. hit big. We have over 1,000 views on that episode, by far our most successful episode. And it's a whole lot of thanks to you for being open and honest and just, putting yourself out there. And, I always like to say, it's tough to do what we do, to put ourselves out there, but I bet you there's somebody out there listening. I know there's somebody out there listening. Hey, maybe they could turn their lives around and change. And if there's just that one person, then it was all worth it. So I appreciate you, my. Any closing statements on the show today? Anything you want to say for the people? You got it. The floor is yours, bro.
Yeah, man. Well, the reason why I'm an open book on this show is because I'm hoping that it could open people's minds to what they really got to focus on and allow them to not be ashamed going forward with it and trying to fix it. And just be open with themselves and be honest with themselves, man. So, it wasn't easy coming on and just spilling everything, but it's for a good cause, and I'm hoping that a lot of positivity can spread because of it. So yeah, just as Matty says, as we like to say, keep showing up, man.
Indeed, keep showing up, man. It's a beautiful thing. We'd love to have you on again next week. I think hopefully we could get W in here as well, and do the 3-person panel as well. I do have some ideas going forward for some guest speakers on the show, so maybe I will reach out to those that I have on our list, and maybe we can have some guest speakers as well coming up, or even some call-ins. If you're out there, you're watching this in post, whether it be on YouTube or Twitch, reach out to me privately. You can message me if you got something you want to say. Come on, talk about. We could do a call-in. We could trial and error with that and see how that goes for the people. Get some more interaction. As much as we like talking up, here for you guys. We want to hear your thoughts, your questions, anything that you want to talk about in those chats, and getting you on the show in any way, shape, form would be a great way to do that. All right, folks. Well, that's going to be it for us tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Mental Mondays, episode 7. All right. If you haven't already done so, check out our shorts on the YouTube page. All right. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well, Epis Radio. You got me, Matty B, Epis Benedetti on the Instagram and Facebook, and you got my boy Chris. You got his handle right there on the screen for you. All right, tune in next time. All right, and check us out. Subscribe, hit that bell just to find out if we're going live with the sports show or the Mental Mondays. All right, and that's it, folks. That's all I got for you this week. Till next time, keep showing up.
Wake up! You can't remember where it was. Has this dream stopped?
Dawn, thanks for coming out. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Have a good night.
Hope you find some kind of peace of mind. And hope you find some kind of peace of mind.
Was true.
That's right. Have a good night, everybody. Until next time. We'll see you next week for episode 8. Keep showing up.